Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your SmackDown results and 205 Live. Happy birthdays to Clarence Mason, born May the 9th. Bastion Booger was born 1957, May the 10th. Birthdays, Tito Santana, Arriba! He was born 1953. William Regal, he was born 1965. And former WCW star Air Paris turned 40 years old. Bryan and Tony Bellew welcomed their first child together last night, a baby girl named Birdie Jo Danielson. Show you a picture of her as well. The WWE reported that Birdie Jo arrived at 11:58 p.m. on May the 9th. She was born at 8 pounds, 10 ounces, and 21 inches. Bree went into labor more than 1 week late. There's no better feeling in the world than meeting your daughter, Bree told WWE. I can't even express the overwhelming joy and love that Bryan and I are feeling. Now we know what parents mean about the love you feel when you first meet your child. Thank you for all your thoughts and prayers on the safety of Birdie coming into this world. And WWE said, breaking news, Birdie is here. At Brie Bella Twins and at WWE Daniel Bryan welcome their daughter to the world May 9th at 11:58 p.m. New trademark applications were filed on April 28th for the Brother Nero, Broken Brilliance, and Broken Matt by Impact Wrestling. It should be noted that Matt Hardy had applied for the trademark for Broken Matt Hardy on March 1st. A source at Impact Wrestling told PW Insider that while the trademarks are listed as being filed in April, they were actually filed back in January. It was noted that while the Hardys and Impact are going back and forth with legal letters, there has been no lawsuit filed yet and no agreement or settlement regarding the gimmick has been made. Impact Wrestling video link for the Hardys broken gimmick contract signing for Slammiversary. Two members of the new in India for an event in Mumbai. Kofi returned from injury, while Big E was there as well. Show you a picture of that, and the link as well. No word on why Xavier Woods wasn't there or made the trip to India, but he did do some up, down, down. His video game show. WWE Music has released another, the Southern Proud theme song, without the harmonica for the revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. At this link. Shoulder injury that takes Ember Moon out of TakeOver update. Ember Moon's title opportunity against NXT Women's Champion Asuka will have to wait. Moon suffered a grade 1 shoulder sprain as a result of Asuka's ambush during last week's #1 contender Battle Royal and will not be able to compete at NXT TakeOver. Chicago on May 20th. WWE.com has learned doctors estimate that Moon will require 4 to 5 weeks to recover from the injury. Along with Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross, Moon was scheduled to challenge Asuka in an NXT Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way match in Chicago. Well, it's been dropped to a triple threat. As NXT General Manager William Regal announced a title bout after Asuka crashed last week's #1 contender Battle Royal and brutalized the 3 finalists, Moon, Riott, and Cross. During the turmoil, the Express of Tomorrow pushed Moon off the top turnbuckle before launching her through the ropes, causing Moon to fall hard on the floor. Shoulder first. And more details are expected to be released this Wednesday on NXT at this link. W posted the video of Sasha Banks and Titus O'Neil after a life-changing visit to St. George's Market in Belfast, Ireland. They talked about their time in Belfast and on the current international tour, and Titus joked about recruiting Sasha for the Titus brand. WWE has been doing a storyline where Braun suffered a torn rotator cuff at At Raw, Strowman, who has been doing street fights with Roman on the current European tours, wrestled Calissa with one arm in a sling on Monday Night Raw, as Reigns interfered to hit Strowman's arm with a steel chair on the steps right off his television, off TV, to fix his elbow issues. As noted back in October 2015, actor Josh Gad and Ryan Dixon are writing a script for WWE Studios' biopic on wrestling legend Gorgeous George Raymond Wagner. WSVN TV Entertainment reporter Chris Van Vliet interviewed Gad while in Italy, who said that the script was just completed and that the film should be released next year. As seen in the video here, actually just handed a draft to WWE. Gad said, "It is one of these extraordinary stories that a lot of people don't know about. Gorgeous George was in many ways an influence for people like Muhammad Ali and for what became WWF and then WWE. He brought villainy to center stage in the world of wrestling and, in a way, established what we now know as the character performance art that becomes a lot of the world of wrestling. Hopefully it will be released in the next year. We'll see." The Rock's production company, $7 Digital Studios, will be producing 6 new pilots this year, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The first will be a scripted comedy about a gym fighting for survival in a partnership with the team behind the YouTube channel Bro Science Life. There will be 4 mid-form episodes released each week on the official $7 YouTube channel. Jared Followill of the band Kings of Leon took a random shot at pro wrestling this past weekend by tweeting the following: "Hey adults, let's maybe not watch professional wrestling, you know?" And his Twitter account at Young Followill. This tweet got a lot of response on Twitter, including replies from Big E, Dash, and the Young Bucks, as seen at this link here for you. And Big E said at WWE Big E, "Don't play with my money." Dash commented at Dash Wilder WWE, "I miss when you guys were making good music or on hiatus, you know." And Young Followill comments again, "Hey adults, let's maybe not watch professional wrestling, you know." And the Young Bucks come back at Matt Jackson 13. Well, go to that link. I didn't get what he said. Elijah Burke also commented at Young Followill, "Yeah, cause that will make the world a better place. PHS, you don't know, pulpit spoken. Hashtag bless your heart." And picture there, picture link, all that. After the response, Followill walked back on his original tweet, writing, "Okay, look, crazy story. Just got back from the bathroom. Somebody tweeted some dumb crap on my phone. Needless to say, Suplex City, all good." Sky Sports had a short interview here with the WBC Cruiserweight Champion Tony Bellew. Bellew, who starred in Creed the movie and was at Sunday's WWE Live event at the Echo Arena in Liverpool, noted that if he were ever to wrestle, he would want to face Triple H. Tony would like to slap Triple H's backside, Bellew said. I like the sound of that, or doing a Stone Cold Stunner on Triple H. He was a phenomenal wrestler in his day, so I wouldn't mind a little go at that. Recently on the Steve Austin Show, WWE Hall of Famer Steve Austin shared his thoughts on WWE Payback 2017 live when it was recorded from 317 Gimmick Street. Over the course of the podcast, Austin turned his attention to the Hardys, their return to WWE, and the broken gimmick. Also, Austin talked about whether there should be any heat on Sheamus for knocking out one of Jeff Hardy's teeth on Monday Night Raw. On the subject of the Hardys, Austin commented the duo for not fading away and classifying themselves as obsolete and being out to get over, even without the so-called rocket pack strapped onto their backs. These guys have been around for a long time, and they were always able to get themselves over to a very high level, oftentimes without a green light push. Then they'd split them up or do something with them. Or they tried to get them over and got them over to a very high level. Then they left for a long time. Now they're back. Austin then went on to explain the broken brilliance of Matt Hardy and said that broken Matt and Brother Nero did awesome with the concept. Before they came back, Matt Hardy came up with this off-the-charts character, totally against anything they've done. Here's a kid from North Carolina. He's got, what is it? A British accent? It's all about delete. And what's the name of the little thing that they're flying around? Vanguard 1. Damn, what a good idea. And whether it was theirs or not, the fact that Matt Hardy pulled off this character, and then also with Jeff Hardy's participation in the angle, they're both outstanding in it. According to Austin, he loved the broken gimmick so much, he even reached out to the Hardys to express his delight. A shout out to both these guys for reinventing themselves. I love the broken concept. I love all the fights outside in the woods and at the Hardys' place and all the stuff on the battlefield. I can't remember it all. It was spectacular stuff, and I sent them a couple of messages. That's how much I liked it. With respect to Sheamus knocking out Jeff's tooth on Raw, Austin claimed that there probably is no heat on Beaker's distant cousin for the accident. Stone Cold went on to say that Jeff is double tough and fearless. I don't think there's any heat. I mean, these guys are out there trying to tell a story, trying to get this angle over. They did. Hey, you catch one, it's a little snug or it's in the wrong placement. Maybe it is what it is. If I had been in the same shoes, if that had been my mouth, I would have just, hey man, I mean, sometimes you take one for the team. I'll tell you what, if there's one thing Jeff Hardy is double tough. If you watch that old motorcycle crash he had, because he loves dirt bikes and motocross and all the stuff he's done over the course of his pro wrestling career, from all those TLC matches, I mean, it's the cage matches. This guy is not afraid of anything, so believe me, getting a tooth knocked out of his mouth is nothing but a thing to this guy, and I think everything is cool. No heat at all, in my opinion. Austin added that the fact that it actually happened, hey, it is what it is, play it up. But just between the guys, I don't think there's any animosity. Open a can of audio will pass. Here's a Podcast 1 Steve Austin Show. If you use any of the quotes from this article, I'm posting it in the link, by the way, Mr. Stone Cold. Please credit the Steve Austin Show with an HT to Wrestling Inc. for the transcription. Above, here's several trailers for Lionsgate Inconceivable, starring, this is a WWE film with Nicolas Cage, Gina Gershon, Nikki Whelan, and Eva Marie. Yeah, she's gone from WWE to film this movie. And she's real good on the microphone, as you can see in some of these links. I watched, I think, one of them. Didn't see the actual movie links themselves, but it apparently is a pretty decent movie. As Eva first appears in a trailer around the 40-second mark. I don't know which link it is, but I'll post them all for you. 6 links for you. The WWE posted another video with Raw Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, after a live event in Dublin, Ireland. Hardys have been retaining the titles over Enzo and Big Cass, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, and Sheamus and Cesaro on the tour. At this link. Dark match before Saturday's WWE UK tapings in Norwich, England, saw Roy Johnson defeat H.C. Dyer. It appears that there was no dark match before Sunday's tapings, but there was an in-ring promo from Progress Wrestling co-owner Jim Smallman before the show. Jim said 2017 is the year for British wrestling. Before thanking the fans for the support, Seth Rollins with Roman Reigns looking on addressed the live crowd in Lille, France to say merci beaucoup or thank you, and can be seen at this link. Rollins is currently feuding with Samoa Joe, while Roman Reigns is looking to be feuding with The Miz, as he will be soon doing on TV as well. So Roman's back in action against The Miz. Roman, who was scheduled to feud with Braun Strowman through the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, is now facing The Miz in his next program. The feud was originally planned to begin after Extreme Rules, but where Roman was set to lose an ambulance match against Braun Strowman. From there, Strowman would have moved on to Brock Lesnar, and then Reigns on to Miz. But with Strowman out of action, they immediately go with Miz and Roman. A lot sooner than later, as sources also mentioned that there was an original plan for Roman Reigns to win the Intercontinental Championship from Miz, with the idea being that when Roman challenges Lesnar at WrestleMania 34, the Universal Championship will be the only championship that he hasn't won. It is not known if WWE still plans to make Reigns versus Miz for the Intercontinental title program. As you know, Dean Ambrose still has a title right now. Miz is set to challenge Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental title next Monday on Raw. So, if he wins it, it'll be on Raw. And there's a spoiler for next week's Raw. According to PW Insider, this year's No Mercy pay-per-view will be held on September 24th at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. This year's show will be a Raw brand event. Last year's No Mercy was a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, with Bray Wyatt defeating Randy Orton in the main event. The show also included a career versus title match, with Dolph Ziggler winning the Intercontinental title from The Miz. Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane, recently announced that the Senator Rand Paul has been given his endorsement and in his campaign for the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Kane posted the following comments with a statement from Paul on Facebook. I'm extremely proud to be endorsed by Senator Rand Paul, the most conservative senator in the U.S. Congress. The battle for liberty happens at all levels, federal, state, and local. My friend Glenn Jacobs not only made a name for himself in the world of WWE, but for years has labored as a community activist eager to bring more freedom and prosperity to as many people possible. His small government and pro-liberty philosophy of government on education, the economy, regulation, taxes, and more is exactly what we need more of in our politics. It's why I think Glenn would be an excellent choice for mayor of Knox County. Unquote. Sportskeeda recently interviewed NJPW star Kenny Omega. And here are the highlights from that. How do you feel about Big Damo using the one-winged angel in NXT and Seth Rollins using the rain trigger in WWE? I'm cool with it. Examining their execution, it hardly appears like the same move anyways. Now in 2017, almost every move has been created. To making something new, sometimes the only way is to add to your own spin to a pre-existing move. I have fairly original moveset, but I do have a dragon suplex in my arsenal. I make that look fresh by adding a snap and keeping it low to the ground. It looks original, but at the end of the day, it's just a dragon suplex. What is the current status of Bullet Club? Hulk Hogan recently expressed a desire to join BC, and the elite have made no secret of your interest in the Hulkster coming on board. Many fans dismiss this all as pure fantasy, but could we see Hogan throwing up the too sweet sometime soon? With a serious injury to Katsuyori Shibata, major news at the moment, what are your thoughts on headbutts in wrestling? People need to understand the nature of what we do and the lifestyles that we live. There's a strange assumption that in between our big shows, we're resting comfortably and entering every big match situation at 100%. The truth is, we're working every day, and our off days are only absent of matches because the travel between destinations is too long. One headbutt didn't instantaneously end the career of a healthy super athlete. I have no doubt that it contributed, and it is a move we should probably avoid as daily performers, but to place them solely on that maneuver is unfair. I could go on forever about that topic, but because there's also in some of that as well. I agree with Kenny Omega on that. Because if you did that, you have to do every move, and then there would be no wrestling. But back to Omega, I'll leave that one on this note. A healthy Shibata should shrug off 10 headbutts and wrestle 60 minutes. In our sport, there are always risks in everything we do. Heck, 10 years ago, I tore my meniscus on my entrance, resulting in surgery. As we take more punishment and fatigue on the schedule starts to set in, the percentage of injury naturally increases and the body's limit drops considerably. Shibata was the kind of guy who would always give 110%, and he had been on a non-stop tear since before the G1 2016. He pushed past his own boundaries to keep his pace for the fans of NJPW, and the fatigue of being overworked for a year combined with the exhaustion of a 38-minute match is a true culprit. End of his discussion. All Pro Wrestling Cow Palace Royale from May 6, 2017. And here's your results from Daly City, California. Thanks to John Moore from ProWrestling.net. Some on-site notes: since APW doesn't run press releases, just going based on my estimate, quick count. I just eyeballed it, but looked like there was about 2,500 people in attendance. I guess it's just a guess, but it sure looked like that much, which is a really good number for an independent show. Of course, since this report is coming from the notes at an indie event with shoddy sound, please don't mind how I get some wrestlers' names wrong and miss details due to it being a live event versus having my laptop in front of me during my traditional television reviews. Former WWF runner-up and current ring announcer for Hood Slam, AJ Kirsch, was your ring announcer. They had a legendary commentator appear, didn't catch the name, and he talked about calling classic matches involving Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. Of course, he introduced Pat Patterson as well, as the opening match was a 30-person Cow Palace Royale. Number one, the first match, 30-person Cow Palace Royale. This was your traditional 30-man battle royal. Since it was an indie show, the majority of the audience didn't know who most of the wrestlers were. The Berkeley Brawler, a man who was a parody of the UC Berkeley students, citizens. I can tell you 100% that I don't dress or act like the heel Berkeley Brawler. Started the match off against a guy who calls himself the Real Deal. The Real Deal guy looked really good in the ring for a guy his size. He was closer to 5 foot for what it looked like in the ring. The third person in the Royale was Sean X-Pac Waltman, who looked great as he came to the ring and did his signature spots. I heard a lot of surprised people in my section of the crowd who were very aware of the TMZ report on his arrest from earlier in the week. He didn't have a lot of time in the ring and was eliminated early. This was part of the Battle Royale where he got a lot of wrestlers who didn't have the name value and had a handful of them were out of shape. Luckily, the person who held it down in there was Bay Area independent wrestling legend and WCW wrestler Mike Modest. He doesn't look to be in great shape, but in his ring work was solid as ever. But was also this big old dude who I didn't catch his name of, but he played the solid big man in the match. And they even did the traditional everyone gang up on him to eliminate him. He wasn't bad in the ring either. And he had a few eliminations and didn't look lost. The fan favorite out of the segments seemed to be the Chicano Flame, who was an out-of-shape luchador, but who can't cheer at the name Chicano Flame. People like the M's, some generic luchadors. There was a guy called the Breaking Ball. I think the clean house. This was the purple singlet guy who was in there for a long time. I think his name was Rick. One of the most disappointing parts of the Royale was the quick elimination of the Jungle Boy, son of actor Luke Perry. He's a wrestler who looks like a 13-year-old boy in the ring. He's a bit hilarious. I'd recommend that he puts on a streak of face paint to make him a little less boy and a little bit more jungle. But at least at the last APW show I attended, his performance against Vinny Massaro stole the show from the undercard as the guy who can do some really good lucha libre moves in the ring. Think of the moves as some of the cool things that old school Mystico used to do, without botching, of course, that Mystico currently is known for. Jungle Boy got a move or two in, but was eliminated in less than a minute by the heels. The in-ring quality of the match improved drastically by the latter part of the match, and it was initiated by former leader of the Brood, Gangrel, who was in amazing shape and did his classic blood spit to start off the match. He was also the person who carried most of the wrestlers in the ring at this point. A lot of eliminations happened until we got a few more recognized names. The last two names I'll focus on are Jacob Patu and Willie Mack. Jacob is Samoan and a part of the legendary Anoa'i family. He's the son of Tonga Kid, which actually makes him really close relatives to the Usos, Umaga, and even Rosie and Roman Reigns. I like what he did in the show. On the last show, I saw him he looked like he was a babyface Uso ripoff. I know he does have all the right to use it, since it is his family legacy, but when you come to an indie show using a gimmick that you see on TV, it just makes him come off as hitching his bandwagon to his more famous cousins. This time he came out wearing tights and that reminded me of his uncle Umaga, Eddie Patu. So this time he came out as a hybrid Uso Umaga, and it really worked for him, and it gave him the original identity rather than just an Uso. He looked great in his ring work. Willie Mack was also the Mac from Lucha Underground. Now, I don't go into much detail on him, but you can read my many written and audio reviews on Lucha Underground to see and hear my thoughts on his stellar work. This is a reporter's work that I'm talking about. He does look like an out-of-shape Rich Swann, but he can do everything Rich Swann does with his 300-pound frame. One of his best matches I can point out to watch on Netflix is Ultima Lucha 1, where he faced Brian Cage in a hardcore match. The final two wrestlers were Mack and Samoa Werewolf, Jacob Patu. Mack ran into Royale doing his signature copycat version of the Stone Cold Stunner. But then he led into his own unique moves of doing jumping insecurities, shooting stars, and standing moonsaults. Jacob did some ode to his family by pulling out some of Umaga's hip attacks and top rope splashes. Patu managed to pull off his very cool looking somersault flip on Mack. One-on-one action had the crowd enjoying it at this point. Patu wins the match with springboard moonsault to win the Cow Palace Royale and a small trophy. Fatu defeated Willie Mack to win the Cow Palace Royale match. The next match was billed in the advertising as a singles match between Candice LeRae and Shotzi Blackheart. Everybody knows who knows Candice, right? I don't have to go into much detail with her. She's Joey Ryan's tag team partner, Johnny Gargano's wife, and SoCal independent legend. She was even on the last episode of NXT in the Women's Battle Royal for #1 contendership to Asuka's title. Shotzi should be a star someday. She received exposure on WWE TV as a finalist in the last season of Tough Enough. She was a featured person from the first episode of that Tough Enough season, and that she presented her as a favorite. Currently, she has dyed her hair green, but you might remember her as a red hair spunky babyface who called her parents when she was made a finalist for Tough Enough. Then they ran the sad story where WWE doctor told her she had possible heart cardiovascular irregularities that prevented her from being on Tough Enough. Anyway, she really is good in the ring as a spunky babyface, and her high-risk moves are clean. If you plug her in a main event picture of NXT right now, she'd shine. She would have an amazing match against Ember Moon or Asuka. All that being said, they turned the match into a triple threat involving Rachel Ellering, the daughter of NXT manager Paul Ellering. Match number 2, Candice LeRae versus Shotzi versus Rachel Ellering. As Candice did the solid mat work that she's well versed at, and California crowd treated her like a star. Shotzi came back with lots of fun and energy and quick moves. She did running splashes and cannonballs to the corner, all while getting the crowd hyped up. Ellering wasn't bad as well. There were no real botches, and this was a really fun women's match. Shotzi in particular was a fan favorite. What was surprising about this match was the match length. It felt like it was cut short. That's just my guess. After a Tower of Doom spot, Candice was drop kicked. I don't have it in my notes, but I believe Ellering won with a basic move. Of course, this wouldn't be the last we'd see of Candice LeRae tonight, especially with her world's cutest tag team partner in the main event. Rachel Ellering defeated Shotzi and Candice LeRae by pinfall. Match number 3, the Classic Connection versus Lion Power of Marcus Lewis and Will Hobbs in a handicap match for the APW Tag Team Championship. This was your traditional Formula Tag Team match. Quick note to WWE viewers, Lewis appeared on WWE Raw last year as Clay Thompson, parody, when he and another jobber got squashed by Braun Strowman. Marcus isn't a jobber, though, in that he's really good at a lot of things, from mat wrestling, high spots, and selling. I feel confident in comparing him to a young Dolph Ziggler. Hobbs is a traditional big man who's a bit clumsy, but he does the job by providing the hot tag. The Hill Classic Connection guys, who wear in and out burger shirts for some reason, did a traditional heel isolation spot to start off the match, as Lewis sold for the majority of the match. The tide turned on cue, with Hobbs tagging in and cleaning house with a clothesline and body slam. Lewis hit this cool-looking corkscrew tope con hilo to the outside to take out the Classic Connection. Lewis hit a 450 splash on one of the guys to pick up the pinfall victory and bring the APW Championship back to Lion Power. Lion Power defeated the Classic Connection by pinfall to become your new APW Tag Team Champion. Match number 4, Shayna Baszler versus Ruby Reyes for the APW Women's title. Even though Shayna is the champion and a household name due to her MMA background, Ruby Reyes, who did a Freddy Krueger gimmick, was the one who signed here. She did some sick-looking suplexes. Baszler did some solid mat work, but I felt like she could have done a better job integrating the MMA into her style, since she is working an MMA gimmick. Reyes teased using the Freddy hand knives, but the referee took them away, which allowed Shayna to pick up the win with a rear naked choke. The match was also a bit short for time. Shayna Baszler defeated Ruby Reyes by submission to retain the APW Women's title. Next was a fun, crowd-pleasing pro wrestling angle involving Pat Patterson. At this point of the show, microphones were really acting up, so it was hard to hear the promos and intros. Pat Patterson had the mic and went over how wrestling in the Cow Palace was a part of history, as Pat was about to get into thanking the fans. He was then interrupted by a heel that called himself the Golden Boy. The heel did a traditional thing of mocking the legend. Patterson eventually grabbed the guy in the nuts and punched him out for a crowd pop. If you don't know, Pat Patterson is gay. There you go. Match number 5, J.R. Kratos versus Jekyll's the Jester in a San Francisco death match with Kevin Sullivan as the ring enforcer. Don't know if that's Taskmaster or another Kevin Sullivan. I hear a lot of great things about J.R. Kratos, and I know APW pushes this guy as their top champion. But for the second match I've seen in a row, he wasn't fun to watch. It seems like he's moving in slow motion, and he's a bit clumsy at the mat wrestling. Believe it or not, Luster the Legend carried him in the last match I saw with him. The crowd wasn't into it until Jester saved things by dropping the thumbtacks in the ring. Wrestling crowds love thumbtacks, of course. By death match standards, this was really tame, but I actually like that because independent wrestlers shouldn't be killing themselves for matches that are only seen by a hidden minority and would even hurt their chances of landing a television look. Kratos managed to get good by the end by not being slow motion anymore. He had a sidewalk slam on the thumbtacks and sold getting tacked himself. He then had a tombstone on Jekyll's to pick up the victory. Sullivan got involved by beating up the Jester's voodoo doctor manager. Intermission happened. Match number 6. Will Cuevas versus Carl Fredericks for the APW Internet Championship. The one flaw I see in this game of Will Cuevas is he calls himself the Moneymaker and does imitate Okada a bit. And as I mentioned with Jacob Fatu, I don't recommend coming off as a copycat. With that out of the way, Will Cuevas is really, really good in the ring and doesn't need the Okada stuff. Since he's a great mat wrestler, Cuevas seems to be APW's go-to guy if you want a solid opponent for anyone. Carl Fredericks was the heel of the match, and he wasn't bad as well. Fredericks drew You Still Suck chants from the people who knew his storylines. Fredericks drew some heat by doing a people's elbow into a moonsault. Heels deserve extra pops when they do the high-flying moves and draw heat at the same time. Such stars as Johnny Mundo, Neville, and Jack Evans come to mind with me. Fredericks had a cool-looking tilt-the-world side slam in the match, which was different because we usually get a backbreaker from that move. Late in the match, Will Cuevas hit a cool locking pop-up DDT move after setting up by Fredericks. Cuevas was building up the Rainmaker and hit 3 Amigos. Cuevas then went into Eddie Guerrero mode with the Frog Splash. The match did have a surprising ending with Carl Fredericks pulling out a quick execution go to sleep, which led him to picking up the pinfall victory and became the new APW Internet Champion. Next match was the match of the night. If I were APW, I would have shuffled the last 3 matches, even though I do understand that Cody Rhodes drew the people into the building. I'm also guessing the promotion underestimated the drawing power of Johnny Mundo, TNA wrestler Luster, the Legend, and of the Reno Scum Act, was the APW Universal Champion. This match was originally billed as Luster the Legend versus Adam Thornstowe for the World Championship. Thank God it was changed. Though I do wish Adam a speedy and solid recovery, the match was changed to Luster versus Johnny Mundo, aka Johnny Morrison, versus, they call him Cage, versus Jeff Cobb, versus Matanza Cueto, versus the Universal Championship. which is a much more better match. You also have TNA wrestler and 3 of the top Lucha Underground stars all in one match. All right, Luster the Legend versus Johnny Mundo versus Brian Cage versus Jeff Cobb in a four-way dance for the APW Universal Championship. It's already been a year, but this match reminded me why I love attending the Lucha Underground live tapings. It's interesting in that even though we had 3 possible high-flying flyers of the match, they also stood out as unique. Cobb has altered his style to what Will Pruitt and I have argued about. He should do by tonight, down the high spots and performing more of his suplexes and power moves. Cobb impressed everyone with his pure strength. He does the suplexes when he picks up the giant people like Cage or Luster midair, while also swinging them around like they were just ragdolls. Even though Cage may be a machine, Cobb is an inhuman monster with the way he deadlifts giants like Luster with ease. I give Mundo credit for at least trying to keep continuity alive by flipping the bird and trying to keep up his worldwide underground persona. But it seems like most fans were more nostalgic for his WWE work, and he appealed to that well with his many parkour moves and corkscrew variations on everything. What surprised me was I expected Luster to fade into the background due to how much his 3 opponents have stood out on the national stage. But he was really good as well on his end, providing the solid big man base and big man power moves. He hit some good suplexes and performed Razor's Edge on one dude into another against the corner. Also give Luster credit for building up to the Texas Cloverleaf submission. Another credit to him for popping himself up into the air into some of Jeff Cobb's suplexes. He does tend to yell "Oi" a bit too much for my taste. It might get over, but he overdoes it a bit. Both he and Christina Von Eerie have done a bit too much of that on Impact, recently. Cobb's best catch was catching a flopping Mundo mid-air into a belly-to-belly with a ground twist. It was actually Cage who sort of faded into the backstage, into the background, not to his fault, but due to the other wrestlers doing so much in the match. That's a downside for a four-man match. Cage did get to stand out, though, with some of his signature spots like the Discus Lariat, F5, and Weapon X. The crowd clapped to the tune of Terminator, which they figured out was odd to me, who regularly attends his matches at the Boyle Heights Temple. The crowd figured out this was odd too and did the traditional thing of slapping metal to do the Terminator thing. Mundo, Luster, and Jeff Cobb played into the finish. Mundo managed to nail Jeff Cobb with a Starship Pain, and Cobb kicked out of Mundo's finisher for a really good near fall. Luster then went into the ring and cleaned house. Cobb lifted up Big Luster, the Legend, with ease while everyone was knocked out. Cobb planted Luster with a good-looking Wrath of the Gods power slam, way better than the one he did to Mil Muertes in the Grave Consequences match, and picked up the victory to become the new APW Universal Champion. The crowd gave Cobb a hero's reaction due to him being APW Bay Area, California guy, as Jeff Cobb defeated Luster, the Legend, Johnny Mundo, and Brian Cage by pinfall to become the new APW Universal Champion. AJ Kirsch had a hard time on his hands when they went to setting up for your main event. The crowd really started to get restless at this point and even reacted worse than when WWE did the House of Horrors movie from last week. It took forever setting up the steel cage. There was an awkward moment where 2 pieces of the cage would come out. The crew would walk back, bring out the same 2 pieces of cage out. All while AJ is trying to kill time and distract the crowd. but it didn't help. Of course, they would have anticipated the long cage setup time. They should have set up cage match for the intermission, to use the intermission to set up the cage. Then they have Cuevas match, and then the Universal title match, which should have known you would have been good. If it were Thornstowe versus Luster, I would have left the title match below the Cody one. But it wasn't. Cody Rhodes versus Joey Ryan in a steel cage match. The match was set up at the We Are Here show, where Ryan did a post-match attack on Cody and Pentagon while also wearing his Stardust jumpsuit from earlier on in the night. Cody can use his Rhodes names. This is not on TV. The cage wasn't too high, but it did the job. Ryan was himself, where he did the oil thing and the lollipop stuff. If you've seen one Joey Ryan match on TNA or Lucha Underground, then you've seen them all. He did add a new part to it, or newer, since I've seen it before, where Cody tried to kick him in the balls early on, but Cody sold the pain because I guess Ryan has balls of steel. Maybe Ryan needs to find a way to wrestle Braun Strowman at WWE Great Balls of Fire. Ryan was chicken shit throughout, and he tried to escape the cage once, with Cody ripping off his tights to reveal his thong and bare ass. Cody slammed Ryan against the cage several times, and you could clearly see the blading and blade transfer after that. At one point, only because he does this at every match, Ryan did that thing where the opponent grabs his thing and he flexes his arm muscles to pantomime strength. He then flips them with his crotch with his signature meme. At least they tried to explain people grabbing his crotch now by saying that he puts their hands down there and it's just to show strong it holds the hand in place. The match got a bit unique, with totally expected by the end, as Cody tried to escape the cage. A woman in a jumpsuit and Stardust kids match blocked his escape at the cage and the door. Of course, if you follow independent wrestling even a little bit, you should have expected that this was Johnny Gargano's wife and Ryan's longtime tag partner, Candice LeRae. This popped the crowd due to her work in SoCal. Candice gave Cody a ballplex, which is a German suplex, where she grabs Cody by the balls and gives him a suplex. Lost the ball, grabbing on the show. Eventually, Brandy Rhodes ran into even up the odds for the babyface husband and wife. Cody took down Candice accidentally by hitting her with a beautiful disaster kick. The move of the night was Cody and Joey both being on top of the cage area. Cody then doesn't hold on to the cage and manages to hit Ryan with the cage superplex all the way down to the mat, which was a sick looking. Cody then escaped the cage and leaves the crowd going home happy. Cody and Brandy made their way to the back as AJ handled the outro. AJ Kurz then announced that APW was coming back to the huge Cow Palace venue again in September, as he told us to look out for that. John Stott's good work by the APW crew for booking a huge venue, using huge legends like Pat Patterson and Kevin Sullivan, and for bringing in their top tier talent. After Positive was keeping most of the APW meh guys early in the Battle Royal, and everyone else after to the end of the show being meaningful and standouts. The two booking differences I would have been move the Cody versus Ryan steel cage match after intermission, because it would have mitigated their easily anticipated cage problem, and they should have had easier confident that their world title match would be off the charts, good in ring. Another cage I would have made would have been to give Shotzi and Candice more time, because I felt that they could have had a first half show stealer from the women's side without overshadowing the men. All that said, came out pleased. Props to Lester looking good. Also, I'm looking forward to seeing what APW is going to put together for their next Cow Palace show. Because they went hard on this one, I'll have to see the lineup for first to see if it's worth even going to. Ring of Honor NJPW World Tour event from Toronto, Ontario at Ted Reeve Arena. Report by that reader, Mike Bovace. Ted Reeve Arena, Ring of Honor's regular building to run in Toronto, was rammed. It was a sold-out show, which I would guess 1,500 people. Plus, there was a meet and greet before the show, so people were in the building early. Routinely, the place is a sweat box, but unseasonably cool temperatures meant it was actually comfortable inside for once. This was only being taped for video on demand. The lighting rigging used for TV tapings and the video screen ramp worked there, so the ring and surrounding area appeared to be more open, and this made for better sight lines. Dark match of Will Ferreira and Cheeseburger defeating the fraternity of Channing and Decker, Channing Decker and Trent Gibson with Alexia Nicole. Cheeseburger got a nice reaction. Fraternity or Toronto area workers doing a frat bro gimmick. They had Cheeseburger chug a beer of red Solo cup out of a red Solo cup, but he went ahead and spit it back into the face of one of the duo short match with Ferreira and Cheeseburger getting the win after showing no dissension like they have in recent weeks. Ferreira cut a post-match promo saying he hopes their differences are behind them and it's time to go after gold. Match number 1, the Rebellion of Caprice Coleman and Rhett Titus with Shane Taylor. Defeated Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Ellie and Chris Sabin. Good pop for the MCJ Motor City Machine Guns. Finish came with Taylor distraction that led to Titus hitting his frog splash on Sabin. After the match, Taylor cut a promo demanding that Hiroki Goto come out for the match right then and there. That led to the match of Hiroki Goto defeating Shane Taylor. A decent hard-hitting big man match that suffered because nobody in the crowd believed that Taylor had a shot at winning it. But Taylor looked good and got a lot of offense in, including an impressive splash from the second rope. Goto eventually got the win with a GTR. After the match, Taylor got a respectable hand from the crowd that acknowledged on the way out. Match number 3, Dalton Castle and the boys defeated Chaos, Ghetto, and Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. Big response for Castle. Chaos worked heel, but since this was a comedy match, it was all jest. The story was Chaos didn't know how to handle Castle's mannerisms. Castle kissed all of their bellies at one point and began to turn on one another. Later, Beretta yelled at Castle to stay away from his stomach because he had diarrhea. The finish came when the boys neutralized RPG Vice on the outside and Castle put Gato away with a bangarang. After the match, Castle enjoyed a mimosa served in a martini glass given to him by an audience member, while Chaos continued to tease comedy dissension. Match number 4, Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champion Bully Ray defeated Hangman Page and Damian Punishment Martinez in a 3-way dance. Bully Ray entered the ring to a big ECW chant, but took the mic to say that while he appreciates the support, this is a Ring of Honor ring. The crowd responded with a Ring of Honor chant. Bully Ray attempted to adhere to the code of honor, but both Page and Martinez rebuffed his offer, and the match began with Page and Martinez trying to work together against Ray. But their alliance quickly fell apart. Ray used Page as his willing Devon to hit Martinez with the what's up, but Page immediately leveled Ray with a super kick afterwards. After Martinez was able to hit both Page and Ray with a big clothesline, he was thrown out of the ring. which gained time for Ray to hit the Bully Bomb for the win. Bully Ray gave a heartfelt thanks to the fans after the match. Match number 5, American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes defeated Will Ospreay. A really fun match with the crowd into both guys. Cody is really effective heel with solid crowd work. Ospreay got in a lot of his signature offense, including a standing shooting star press, which was toned down version of the Brit, and he and Cody meshed well. Cody continued to adopt some of his brother's offense, using Dustin's snap power slam and a drop down uppercut. The finish came with Cody surprising Ospreay with a disaster kick as Ospreay was preparing for a springboard move of his own and following it up with a crossroads. After the match, the crowd chanted, "Next world champ," at Cody, which prompted him to get Bobby Cruz to announce the winner of the match as the next Ring of Honor World Champion, Cody. After the match, it was a 15-minute intermission in which merchandise sales and autograph signings seemed brisk. Meet and greet. Next match, match number 6, Tetsuya Naito and Bushi defeating Matt Taven and Vinny Marseglia. This was an odd and disappointing match. While both teams are ostensibly heel, Taven cut a promo before the match doing his Melvin routine and running down the Raptors. They got a ton of go-away heat. Naito came out to a big reaction and then proceeded to play face in peril for almost the entire duration of the match. The amount of offense that Taven and Marseglia got in was surprising, despite the fact that nobody in the crowd for a second thought that were going over. The finish came with Bushi sprayed Marseglia with the mist and then distracted referee Tiger Hattori, allowing Naito to hit Marseglia in the crotch and then hit Destino for the pin. After the match, against Tiger's protestations, Naito chucked his belt up in the air and then left it in the ring. Match number 7, Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions Mark and Jay Briscoe defeated Evil and Sonata and Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young in a 3-way dance. Big pop for the Briscoes, and Sonata just oozes star presence. Another fun match that saw the crowd really warm up to Bruiser as the match went on with a surprising agility. At one point, Bruiser hit a running flip from the apron on both Briscoes and Evil. Silas did some great heel crowd work as well. The finish came with Mark hitting the Froggy Bow on Bruiser for the win. Match number 8, Kushida defeated Jay Lethal. This was an excellent match, and these guys gelled really well. Lethal very subtly worked heel. The match began with some chain wrestling, and after feeling out process, each man went to work on their other's shoulders. The story here was that Kushida continually tried to lock in a cross arm bar, and Lethal did his best to avoid it. At one point, Kushida even countered Lethal's savage elbow by turning it into a cross arm bar in midair. Lethal then attempted to work on Kushida's lower body and locked in a figure 4. Rick Starfly, Lethal failed in his attempt to hit the lethal injection, but Kushida was successful in an attempt on the move. Lethal, though, would go on to hit a cutter of his own. Kushida eventually got the win with a version of God's Last Gift. Both men shook hands after the match, and Kushida signaled he was coming for Hiromu Takahashi's IWGP Junior Heavyweight title with a win at the upcoming Best of the Super Juniors. Match number 9, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks defeating Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Hiroshi Tanahashi. This went about a 30-minute match, and it went bonkers. Daniels came out in what only can be described as a Muammar Gaddafi-like military ensemble. Tanahashi received a big response, but then the place came unglued for the Bucks and Omega, the Bullet Club members. Omega was treated like a conquering hero. The match was all high spots and comedy interrupted by super kick parties. At one point, Kaz two-sweeted everybody in the eyes, causing Nick to scream about how he couldn't see. Omega fetched a bottle of water from underneath the ring to pour into Nick's eyes, but then Nick began to complain that his tanner was going to start running. Tanahashi gave everybody back rakes, much of the marked up. Daniel's team seemed to have the match won after a BME high fly flow combo, but the pin was broken up. Referee Paul Turner took a bump outside, which allowed the Bucks the opportunity to hit an Indy taker on Cass. Also, on the outside, Todd Sinclair came down to the ring to take over refereeing duties, but promptly ate a super kick from one of the Jacksons. With both refs down, Daniels was set to nail Omega with the title belt until Cody intervened. The distraction allowed Omega to hit the one-winged angel as Cody roused Turner to get into the ring and count the pin. After the match, Bullet Club celebrated, and Omega cut a promo, putting over the fans and promising that he and the Jacksons will continue to be the best tag team and singles wrestlers in the world. Thanks to Fran, and that was your conclusion to the results of that. Thanks to Freddie Gerard, Michael Smith, and Ben McCullough for the following SmackDown spoilers or events airing on the USA Network. Main event advertised: Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and champion Randy Orton versus Baron Corbin, Jinder Mahal, and U.S. champion Kevin Owens. The show opened up with Orton in the ring for a promo. His first since the House of Horrors, he's interrupted by the other main event participants. The segment ends on a 3-on-3 brawl. Next match, you had Becky Lynch versus Natalya up first. Natalya rolled Becky up for the win. Charlotte Flair, SmackDown's Women's Champion Naomi, Carmella, James Ellsworth, and Tamina were at ringside. The babyfaces appeared in the backstage segment to issue a 6-woman match for Backlash. They had a video package for Lana's debut coming soon. Again, Eric Rowan defeated Luke Harper with a new finisher. Dolph Ziggler came out to the ring to talk about Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura came out to a huge pop. Nakamura issued a challenge for tonight, but Dolph Ziggler turned him down and wants the match at Backlash instead. So that will be Nakamura's in-ring debut for TV or pay-per-view. Ziggler attacked Nakamura and left him laying. They had another video package for the New Day coming soon. Tyler Breeze and Fandango defeated the Ascension. Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, and Baron Corbin defeated Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles when Jinder Mahal pinned Orton. I'll go on to your 205 results now. As the same reporter, for that, the opening segment saw Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher share a pint of beer for a gentleman's toast. Between the two, the ring was set up with a red apron over the Union Jack. WWE Cruiserweight Champion Neville interrupted and said, and got a wanker chant going on after ripping on Aries. Mustafa Ali defeated Tony Nese in a lengthy match with an inverted 450. Cedric Alexander will be returning soon. Akira Tozawa defeated Brian Kendrick with a roll-up. This also went about 10 minutes. Kendrick attacked Tozawa after the match. Also noted, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler is now official for the May 21st Backlash pay-per-view. And here, there's a video link from Talking Smack at this link. With Dasha Fentes talking to Ziggler following SmackDown segment with Nakamura, which saw Nakamura get the best of Ziggler. Ziggler talks about how he's done everything in WWE because of how good he is. He's here to win, but every now and then he loses his way. Then forgets how damn good he is, but he always readjusts. Ziggler says Nakamura has never had one match on SmackDown, and if anyone can figure him out, it's Ziggler. Ziggler says he spent 8 years picking apart opponents because he can. Ziggler then goes on to say he will figure Nakamura out at Backlash and introduce him to the WWE Universe, then his foot. And that concludes my SmackDown and 205 results for this week, and also other results. Thanks again. Peace out. See you when I'll be you. If you don't know, just call me, brothers and sisters.